Hi, we're gonna get started. If you're standing, please come sit down.
Yay, clap it.
Hi everyone, welcome to our book launch of our anthology, Something Ephemeral. We are so glad and excited that all of you decided to join us and support us today. During the course of today's event, you will find a table in the back with people seated, and those are where the books are being sold throughout the event. If you already have a book, please put your name on it and pass it around during the event with a pen inside. We will have as many of our authors sign it as possible. Before we dive more into the book and explain more about our wonderful writers, here's a little rundown about our course and what we do. So please give a warm welcome to our teacher, Miss Anjali.
Hi everyone. So some of you know, and some of you might not know, that SUPA Creative Nonfiction is a class in which you can get credit for English at ASIJ, but also receive college credit for taking it through Syracuse University. So this is my second year getting to teach the class, and it's really a magical journey that we go on in learning how to tell true stories well. While most of you spend most of your time learning how to be great academic writers, we don't always get to spend an entire year dedicated to becoming great creative writers. And so it has been my pleasure to be part of the journey of this year in becoming creative, true storytellers. However, we have never actually tried to publish a book, and that is exactly what this group's cohort decided to do this year. And so to tell you a little bit more about the book publishing process, we are going to welcome over Kamakshi.
Anjali. So outside of bringing us this amazing opportunity, I think the most exciting part of SUPA this year was the fact that we were able to take ownership of every step of the publishing process, from choosing our anthology, which were presented by the members of our cohort and then voted on. We were then able to write our own pieces, spend time delving into ourselves and seeing what stories we think were worth sharing that kind of alluded to our anthology or our provocation, which was Seishun, which means blue spring. We're going to hear some pieces from both of those, and then taking it forward and working on editing, layout, and marketing, dividing into teams, working together and collaborating to see how we could see it through to the end. And it was all a really meaningful part and fulfilling journey to get here today. Each and every one of the writers, people who helped with layout, really made this process possible, and so I'm really grateful for all of you. Thank you for being here. Oliver, do you want to introduce our writers?
Thank you. So the provocation for our book is Seishun, which directly translates to Blue Spring, as Kamakshi said. This also kind of symbolizes youth, and subsequently the book is kind of split into two halves, with the former being titled Blue and the latter being titled Spring. Today, 6 of our authors will share 3 from each half, and they will each share a portion of their stories. We're also excited to have musicians with us today. One of our authors, Hiroya, and trumpet player Leela, and then singers Ruby and Naomi. And now I'd like to welcome our first reader, Ray.
So my piece, in my piece, I sort of explore 2 different sides of myself, and I really wanted to sort of push the boundaries of creative nonfiction and see how far I could stretch the creative part of creative nonfiction. And so my piece is titled Echo. Water droplets drip out of the shower head every 2 seconds or so, creating a steady metronomic beat as each droplet taps the shower floor before streaming into the drain. On the side of the shower head holder, a small sticker contains even smaller words indicating that this dripping is not to be of concern, as it is not the product of a defective shower head. If not for the tapping, the room is silent. Not the muted kind of silent you hear on planes when the lights are turned off and everyone around you is asleep. This kind of silence echoes through my bathroom. I like to imagine that it's the sound of my thoughts having a little get-together, like the ones my family has every so often. My thought parties, as I like to call them, buzz with constant conversation among my shower thoughts. I can feel my cheeks gradually grow hotter and flush a deeper vermilion with every drop that leads from the shower head. I should dry off, but I stay. I take a deep breath and let out a long exhale. It too echoes. Ah. I listen as the sound that leaves my mouth repeats itself, this time as a shadow of the original sound. Behind the semi-transparent plexiglass door, movement catches my eye. I watch in horror as I make out the silhouette of a person, naked and with black hair, who I pray with all my life will not enter the bathroom. When the doorknob begins to turn, I inhale deeply, hug my knees, and submerge myself in the bathwater in a swift and instinctive motion. Underwater, I hear the door open, followed by the sound of running water from the shower. I try to stay submerged, but eventually give up the fight against my body's plea for oxygen. I wipe off the water from my eyelids with the tips of my fingers and slowly open my eyes. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophie Smith and I'll be the second reader of our first part, Blue. And my piece is titled 38 Weeks Overnight, and it's about the draws and drawbacks of motherhood and dreaming of being a mother. I know not how to be an individual, although biologically, yes, I am my own person. But still, biologically, I am to form new flesh and blood with no prior instructions. How to craft a cerulean personality that was meant to sprout from my own mental illness, from failures and pathetic attempts of selfishness. I know not how to be an individual, to be hand in hand, womanly and selfish. My weakness as a homemaker is the chokehold outsiders have over my self-care. No matter the path of my future, I was meant to have a body soul to care for, to carry my face and sapphire blood into a future where I may no longer exist, to clothe and to raise as my own. To be a woman is to reproduce, is to prioritize others, is to look in the mirror and not recognize herself. I was always meant to be a mother. Trapped or gifted for more than 18 years, I empty my energy into my creation. I fight for individualism, yet fold in the face of my child. I love this spirit unconditionally. It's neither their fault or mine of our existences intertwining. I will work day and night and day, to keep them safe and loved. Because although I know not how to be an individual, I perch myself on a seat of mushy care and prioritize others as if it were my uninvited destiny. I accept this feat with sulking arms, and arguably negative quality of putting everyone above me led to the only thing left to do. I woke up, lonely. My child had seeped away along with my dreams, inexplicable loss in her place. I've never had a child or scare. Frankly, I'm only 17 and experiencing my first real relationship. Even then, even without ever knowing what responsibilities of a mother entail, I wake up with a cold sweat, blue in the face, tongue tucked down my throat, with no memory of the 18 years I raised her except her face. Tattooed in the folds of my brain, I named her, clothed her, fed her, bathed her, and still, after 8 hours, she didn't exist. The hole left behind a smear of indigo in my gut that hadn't existed prior to my shut-eye. And still, 18 years passed in my head, and I wished for nothing more than to exchange my days of youth for a chance of living out hers. To be a woman is to reproduce, is to prioritize others, is to look in the mirror and not recognize herself. Yet, even after reproduction, prioritization, and declination of self-worth, I know I'm meant to be a mother. Thank you.
Hi, I'm the third reader. My name's Evie. My piece is called Albemarle, and it paints a scene of a lost childhood home. There was a small gate that shrieked open, barely concealing a heavy pine green door with a brass knocker. The living room couch moved around restlessly through the years, so if it even was the same couch. Its colors changed in every memory, from salmon to beige to black. There were once kitchens chickens in the garden in small aluminum pens like the ones in Fiji, but it was too small a space to keep animals, so Boom Boo probably sold them. She also used to plant little tomatoes and veggies back there, from what I remember. The kitchen wall was visibly used and worn down with love, its cabinets filled with mismatched glasses, constantly chipped plates, and mugs from fading corners of the world. Many a wobbling toddler gripped the oven and the drawers, while the knives, sharpened and unsharpened, sliced countless fingers, spilling kindred blood. The one thing that remained perfectly still throughout the decades, simply because of its grandness and weight, was the mahogany dining table with attached benches. It was always there when drunken friends spilled sick everywhere, when sons yelled at their mother, and when Boom Boo served baked beans for a groggy breakfast party every other day. And then stairs, creaking with familiarity, yet always being fallen onto by an uncle, a mother, or yeye. When the second floor corridor was small and cramped in daylight, it was much too long and dark at night. There were always nightmare creatures lurking in it, ready to pounce on you as you ran to the parents' bedroom. In the bathroom, a skylight shined onto a white tile floor, sundust collecting on forgotten toothbrushes and coconut oils. A luxurious hexagonal bathtub now waits to create a bubble bath for new babies, all of the rubber duckies having since moved to cramped showers in Brisbane and Tokyo. More stairs to a beautiful attic that slanted with the home's roof. There was a window facing Sydney sky, which was always blue and empty, save for endless flight trails. The cousins would spend hours playing with antique Legos on the carpeted floor of the attic, and even after Boom Boo would hollow for dinner, they refused to leave their misshapen spaceships and blank-faced astronauts. And when dinner was over, they'd run back upstairs to finish their battles, before falling asleep in an unmatching set of moth-eaten bedsheets laid out just for them, never too far from their creations. Thank you. So next we will have a musical performance.
I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. And if we go someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me. Then afterwards we drop into a quiet little place and have a drink or two. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you. I can see it in your eyes that you despise the same old lies you heard the night before. And though it's just a line to you, for me it's true, it never seemed so right before. I practice every day to find some clever lines to say to make the meaning come true. But then I think I'll wait until the evening gets late and I'm alone with you. The time is right, your perfume fills my head, the stars get red and all the nights are blue. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you. The time is right, your perfume fills my head, the stars get red and all the nights are blue. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you.
Hi, so we're going to be entering the spring section of our book. My name is Emmy, and the title of my piece is Nijiro, and as the title suggests, I kind of wrote about different colors of the rainbow, and I wrote a piece that corresponds to each color of the rainbow, so I'll be sharing one of the colors today. Red, rosy. In times of sickness, in times of embarrassment, in times of being too hot, being too cold, there's always one thing my reactions have in common. I have never been expressive of my emotions. I always struggle with taking the thoughts in my mind and translating them into words, making it impossible for me to convey what I truly feel. But one part of my body contradicts this and betrays me, as it reveals my emotions more honestly than I ever could with words: my cheeks. As they flush a rosy red color, my cheeks expose me in ways I can't expose myself at will. My subconscious body is a better communicator than I ever will be, no matter how hard I try. Just as my cheeks became stained with rosy hues from the cool January wind that hit my face while walking through the streets of Kyoto, so too now my cheeks embrace an even deeper red, embarrassed by this thought. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm the second reader for today. My piece is titled Untethered, and I wrote about my experience and my memories with indoor skydiving with my dad, while also tying that to my kind of longing to break free and be my own person. I'm falling. The bounds of gravity grapple for me to come back down, but I'm flying. The strong winds coming from the metal mesh below crash into my body like a hurricane, a contained hurricane. One with no falling trees and floods and deaths. A slight twist of my hands, a shift of my ankles, a wide spread of my body, and I'm spiraling. But I'm soaring upwards. I feel like I could reach the top edge of the atmosphere, the highest star in the sky, free. The once giant fans far below quickly shrink smaller and smaller while I swoop higher and higher up. Soon, I pass the thick layer of plaster and wood that rings the tall tube. There is a ceiling on one side and a carpeted floor on the other. In a few short seconds, I see the spacious seating areas and the black leather couches that encircle my arena. The second floor. Past my glass barrier stands another, a wide window that overlooks the river, the outlet mall, and the small residential areas nearby. But I have no time to stare out at the view. I must focus all my efforts on reaching the top of the world, or at least the top of my world. As the wind weakens through my ascent, so do my fantasies of shooting into the stars. I stretch my limbs to their full extent, even overspreading my fingers to grasp as much wind as I can. I just want to go a little higher. Just a little. I squeeze my eyes shut to imagine the outside world where I want to be, waiting to be transported. But my brief prayers don't seem to have been answered. Instead of a clear blue sky or blackness studded with stars, I look up to see only the gray ceiling with its dull-colored air vents, bearing me from blasting away. I'd always dreamed of being an astronaut, bouncing across the surface of the moon like a trampoline, or soaring in infinite space far away from home, where the opportunities for exploration were limitless. I could travel so far that I could cover the earth with my thumb and only see the twinkle of stars surrounding me. Infinity. True freedom. That was the dream. But even astronauts have tethers, thick ropes keeping them from drifting away into the dark emptiness of the unknown. One way or another, I would eventually be pulled back to the ship, strapped into a seat, and returned home, down to earth again. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Elise, and in my piece, Take a Deep Breath, I tried to encapsulate the feeling of youth in a suspenseful moment I experienced when I was 8 years old. It's time. Ethan walks slightly ahead of me, and the two of us emerge out of the safe anonymity of the audience and up onto the stage. I can feel 1,000 beady eyes following my every move. The air is perfectly still. Ethan settles in behind the grand piano and I take my position in front of the microphone. I start the count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. As my brother hits the first keys, the cavernous hall springs to life with the rich, colorful melody I've heard so many times during practice. I can hear the thocking of the piano keys and pedals behind me as my cue gets closer. The lights feel hot on my face. Are they supposed to be that bright? The audience is staring right at me. Thousands of eyes. 5, 6, 7, 8. I take a deep breath in and fill my lungs with air. Now, I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. In a flash, my mind disappears. Oh no. Ethan slows the piano down for a beat as he looks over at me. He knows something is wrong, but he continues onward as he's been trained to do. The cue that I should have caught is now relentlessly marching forward without me. 1 beat passed, 2 beats passed. My eyes dart around the darkness. I don't know what I'm looking for. Maybe I'm hoping the lyrics will magically appear in the air like the captions of a karaoke song. I frantically look from person to person. The beady eyes are penetrating me now. What should I do? What should I do? Then, all time stops. My whole consciousness lands on a familiar pair of eyes I've seen countless times in the past. Thank you.
Can we get a quick round of applause for all our performers and leaders here? So I know you guys all have classes in like 3 minutes, but we just wanted to, before we conclude, thank the people who came together to make this happen. So first, our wonderful high school librarians, Ms. Haddad and the members of the PTA, the people working up in the communications office, and of course Ms. Anjali and the 40 plus students who worked on this tedious task. So and so if you still haven't had the chance to purchase your copy, we're selling them in the back. And if you're interested, one of the authors should be willing to sign your book. So you should go out and reach out. So if you still have time before class. Thank you again for coming.